Cornerstone Extend Import works to load data into your Cornerstone portal directly from files you provide. Oftentimes, this file will likely come from your HRIS system or a similar third-party vendor. But there are many times where you will need to create your own data file. In these situations, templates are available on the import homepage. Even if the file comes from your HRIS, the template may be useful because it provides the necessary fields and formats required to upload the data to import. To get a template, select the Get a Template Guide button. From the drop-down, select the type of data to import. There are 4 broad use cases for the template types available in import: user and organizational unit creation and updates, user-related creation and updates, system object creation and updates, and asset uploads. The employee and organizational unit data files can be used to create, update, or inactivate employee users or OUs. Different templates exist for each OU type in your portal, with the exception of groups. Within the template guides, you'll see the fields like the ones available to you in the user record or the organizational unit hierarchy. Data files for user-related data can be used to create and update system data related to existing users. For example, an administrator can add a record of training to a user's transcript. User-related data templates will often require you to provide a user ID and specific ID, like a learning object ID, to map the correct asset to the user. Data files for system objects are used to create assets within the Cornerstone portal that do not require uploading of content files. For example, events, tests, or curriculum. Data files for asset uploads are used to create assets that are dependent on additional files being uploaded into your Cornerstone portal, such as online courses or performance reviews. The files for these assets will often need to be uploaded to dedicated folders in your Cornerstone-provided FTP. A question mark next to each load type, when hovered over, will display a description of the load type. After your load type is selected, you'll be asked to answer some basic questions about the data you want to map. These questions differ based on the type of load you are creating. When hovered over, many questions will display a question mark in place of your cursor. Selecting these questions will open a panel providing in-depth information about the available options. After answering the questions, select the Download button. An Excel spreadsheet becomes available for the data type you have selected. The first tab of the spreadsheet includes the basic requirements for each field that can be mapped using the Import tool, including the type of data that can be entered and whether the field is required or optional. A conditionally required field indicates that mapping this field may cause other fields to become required. For example, if the user activation date is mapped in the feed, the user deactivation date field becomes required. The first tab also lists the acceptable values for each field, the default values of a field if left blank, and a brief description of the field. The second tab is the Worksheet tab, where you enter the actual data that was defined in the first tab. Each row is unique for a particular record. For example, if you are creating a user configuration, each row represents a separate user. The third tab is the Considerations tab that defines the file and field requirements and potential load errors you may encounter. The tabs that follow contain lists of acceptable values for fields that require specific data inputs. For example, in the Employee file, the Time Zones tab provides both the ID and code for the corresponding time zone. Each of these values can be placed in the time zone field of the worksheet to set the value for that user. The security of your employee and system data is a serious matter. From the Import page, select Key Management to generate PGP encryption keys that can be used to provide an added layer of security to protect your organization's data load files and information. Select the Create Key button to begin generating a key. In the flyout, enter a name and select Create Key. Once generated, you'll be able to see when your key expires and download the key as an ASC file. After downloading the PGP key, use it to encrypt the data feed files. Contact your internal IT department for support with encrypting the data feed files.